Hey everybody, my name is Paul Esden Jr., aka Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com, and welcome to my YouTube channel right here on YouTube, youtube.com/, BoyGreen25. All right, everybody, we have finally reached all this free agency frenzy, all the craziness that will be happening, and I thought Sunday was the best possible day and time to go through my free agency notebook, give you guys all the rumors and nuggets that I've been hearing around the league, plus we could talk about a couple other ones that are coming in. Before we go any further, we're streaming live right now on my Twitter account, @BoyGreen25. You can see it on the scrolling ticker down below, on my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, The Jet Zone, which is a weekly New York Jets podcast. You guys can check that out. That's also a live stream every Wednesday as well. If you guys have questions, comments, topics, free agency nuggets you have heard that you want my take on, feel free to drop them in the comments below wherever you are watching, and feel free to show your support for the channel, hit the thumbs up button on YouTube, and of course, subscribe. We've got a lot of great stuff coming for you guys, so let's get right into it. First, I am a fan of Mountain Dew, not an official sponsor of the show yet, but let's crack open a cold one here, and cheers as we get this party started. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. All right, everybody. So let's dive into some comments here, some questions as people. Eddie, yes, sir. We are live, baby. Yes, sir. We do a couple of live streams a week. Yes. Cowboys fan jumping in. Dak Prescott a Jet. Unfortunately, not. No. I like Dak Attack, but he is not. Brian Still, hey, what's up today? Well, we got a lot of news, man. I got a huge notebook right here, a literal notebook of free agency nuggets to get into, things that I've heard around the league, and some other things that are trending. Like I said, we'll get to that here in just a few minutes, and I will get to the breaking one that is an article I just shared on the Heavy on Jets Facebook page and also on my Twitter account. That's the big one from Dan Graziano. We'll get to that in a second. And Eddie, Mountain Code Red. I'm an original OG Mountain Dew guy. I haven't jumped into Baja Blast or any of the, Live Wire. That was another one. What was a blue one? I don't even know. But I haven't jumped into all that. I'm an OG Mountain Dew guy. That's true. And as my old man says, a Dewey. Yes, sir. A Dewey. All right. Before I get into some other questions and topics, I don't want to tease the fans, all the fans that are watching and listening all over the place. I don't want to tease you guys, so I will get to the breaking thing that you see as the headline of this video, and that is from Dan Graziano of ESPN. He dropped this morning in his ESPN notebook in tandem with Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, and he had a very juicy nugget, and his very juicy nugget was this from Dan Graziano. You can also check it out, of course, on Heavy.com, my Twitter account. Here it is. This is the quote from Dan Graziano from earlier today. Quote, I was told this week to expect the Jets to spend big on one of the top cornerbacks in free agency. The fact that New England didn't franchise tag J.C. Jackson and the Bucs didn't franchise Carlton Davis indicates the teams don't expect the cornerback market to be overly lucrative this year. But I was told the Jets seem like the one team that might break the bank for one. Woo! That's spicy. That is delectable. So break the bank. The Jets could do so at the cornerback position. Also, in my article, I listed the top cornerback free agents that are listed in the top 50 of Pro Football Focus's free agency rankings. And here they are in chronological order. Again, whether you agree with these names or not in this order, nonetheless, these are considered the top corners that are expected to be available with that news nugget. J.C. Jackson of the New England Patriots, Stephon Gilmore, the Carolina Panthers, Carlton Davis, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Casey Hayward Jr., Las Vegas Raiders, Darius Williams, LA Rams, Steven Nelson, Philadelphia Eagles, Charvarius Ward of the Chiefs, and finally DJ Reed Jr. of the Seattle Seahawks. So the big names to pay attention to are J.C. Jackson, who, again, there's been conflicting reports from the Jets how interested they would be. Again, we will see. Stephon Gilmore is Connor Hughes' guy. He believes the Jets and Stephon Gilmore are a match made in heaven. Carlton Davis is another one I've heard a lot of rumors on. And Casey Hayward, from a scheme fit perspective, would make sense, but perhaps not the same pizzazz as some of those other bigger names on the market. Now, again, this is lying season, so you guys can take what you will for what you will, and as we go through this notebook, some of the things you may hear are like, that's bullshit, or you may flip to the other side and say, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Again, these are just the things I've heard. Whether they come to fruition or not, I guess ultimately we will see this week. Again, the legal tampering period starts tomorrow at noon Okay, that's when it starts officially. And then Wednesday, the new league year kicks off on Wednesday, March 16th at 4 o'clock. That's when all the trades can be officially announced, signings, and things of that nature, which, like I said, we'll be seeing how that kind of develops. I will say this on the cornerback market. And then, like I said, that was the big thing I 100% wanted to get to. And I'll get to the rest of my notebook kind of throughout the conversation. But here's the interesting thing about corner. If the Jets do execute, as Dan Graziano says, they break the bank for a top corner, it would be historic for this 49ers scheme thing, because normally the 49ers don't throw a lot of money, a lot of dough, a lot of duffel bags, okay, at the cornerback spot. They have developed trait-based players. They have signed, or drafted day 3 prospects that have developed and things of that nature. So, again, this would be a ripple effect kind of thing. This would be stunning if they do it. I'm not saying I'm against it. I would love for them to have a number 1 corner, quite frankly, personally. But if they don't dive in these waters, I'd be fine with a Sauce Gardner in the draft. Again, we could save the draft talk for later because free agency is of the moment. It is the essence of the moment. But I will tell you, that is the big one. Break the bank. Dan Graziano on the cornerback market, which, like I said, is fascinating. It is very interesting. Okay, let's jump into some of these comments here. Caden Smith, sign James Daniels. Well, I'll tell you this, Caden. I have a list in front of me of free agents. It's not just things that I've heard. These are just players I would want if I was running the shop for the Jets. And James Daniels is on that list. He's a versatile offensive lineman. For those who don't know, from the Chicago Bears, they're going to let him test the market. He has center versatility. He has guard versatility. I think that would open a lot of doors for the Jets if they sign James Daniels. Now, it's going to be pricey. I'm hearing anywhere from 10, 11, 12 plus million a year, multi-year deal. Could be something like 4 for 44, 4 for 48, somewhere in that ballpark for James Daniels. But I think the juice is worth the squeeze on this potential free agent because, like I said, complete flexibility in the draft. I will say the wow thing that I heard from Connor Rogers on the Badlands podcast is even if the Jets signed a James Daniels, that quote unquote wouldn't rule them out of taking Ike Ekwonu or Evan Neal in the draft. And that was like, whoa. I assumed if they double dipped at one of the spots, for instance, paid a lot for a corner, they wouldn't go Sauce. They paid a lot for James Daniels, they wouldn't go Icky, but maybe not, according to what Connor Rogers has heard. But James Daniels is high on my list, Caden. He is very high on my list. All right, let's go to Gangrene Palace on YouTube. Let's say the Jets free agency class was Joe Flacco, LDT, Honey Badger, James Daniels, Alakun, MVS, Max Williams, BJ Hill. How would I feel? So I'll go piece by piece. Flacco, again, the Jets and Flacco are talking. We'll see what happens. LDT is high on my list. At a minimum, he's depth in competition. And he can also be a starter. So I really love LDT. He's high on my list. I love the Honey Badger. I've been a fan of his game since college. Playmaker. A slightly older free agent, but nonetheless super versatile. James Daniels I just talked about. Alakun, I imagine he's going to stay with Atlanta. They're very close, it sounds like, on a deal. And a former NFL tackles leader just a handful of years ago. So he's super talented. I don't think the Jets value linebacker as much as the fans do. We'll keep an eye out for that. MVS is going to be overpaid. So while it would be a scheme fit, too rich for my blood. Max Williams is kind of Rodgers guy. I like the blocking and receiving. BJ Hill, though, is a very interesting fit. They will certainly do their homework on BJ Hill. So I'm kind of hit and miss on your group of free agents there, Palace, but good stuff. Let's see. John Bradley representing the JETS all the way from East Coast of Scotland. John, welcome to the show, my brother. Welcome to the show, baby. Mm-hmm. Phenomenal. Dewey. Yes, sir. Wherever you guys are watching, by the way, feel free to drop in topics, questions, free agency nuggets that you'd like me to talk about or answer on the show. You can do it wherever you're watching. Again, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We're live on all three right now for this free agency show. Like I said, I thought this was the most appropriate time because tomorrow, all hell breaks loose. You know, I feel like any show we do will be somewhat dated because things are going to be popping, locking, and dropping. But like I said, we will see with the legal tampering period opening up tomorrow. But today was a great time to empty out the notebook, talk free agents, and talk with all you guys, the fans. So keep it coming. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit that thumbs up button as well. Let's go back to Eddie here. I hope free agency goes well. I'm a bit disappointed Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper were traded for almost nothing. I would disagree on the Khalil Mack thing. Again, he went for a second and a sixth, although it is kind of funny that Sam Darnold went for more than Khalil Mack went for. Go figure. Joe Douglas, the GOAT. Am I right or am I right? So he didn't go for nothing, but Cooper, in my estimation, did. Again, I went crazy on YouTube yesterday about it. You guys can check out that video. I wrote an article about angry Jet fans, but again, now that I have had time to breathe and think about it, I would have loved to have him, but let's see what their plan B is. Or again, to them, it wasn't plan B. They didn't even really seriously consider it, but let's see what their plan is at the wide receiver position. They got to get one. I will be super disappointed if they don't get that wide receiver one, which, by the way, is a possible plan here. I'll use this to pivot to this, that there is some interest between the Jets and Jarvis Landry, according to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN. Now, that one may make you go weird. And it should, because here's the thing I don't really get. I feel like the Jets can do one of two things at wide receiver this offseason. They either can go for wide receiver one, which is, again, Allen Robinson. They draft a top flight guy or what have you. And those are your three, right? So you have Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, and whoever that insert player is. Or what the Jets can do is have Elijah Moore on the outside. You have Corey Davis on the outside, and then you get a quality slot guy. Whether you believe that's Braxton, whether you believe that's Jarvis Landry, what have you, that would be another option. Again, for me, Jarvis Landry is a productive player. He's coming off the worst year of his career, both in catches, yards, and touchdowns. But he is a highly productive player. Prior to last year, he had a minimum of 72 catches every year of his career through the first 7 years. So he's productive, but I don't know if I'm paying the piper for Jarvis Landry. He doesn't really tickle the testes, if you feel me. It just doesn't really do it for me. Paul Eston Sr., Jackson Island. Yeah, Jackson's good, but again, we talked about this with Damian Woody earlier this week, so feel free to check out that interview. No islands, okay? As Damian Woody calls them, the rest of them are landing strips. There's only one island. That's Revis Island, who, by the way, is going to be a first ballot Pro Football Hall of Famer next year. Book your tickets to camp. Okay, let's see. H. Wayne Desper, a.k.a. Hojo, on YouTube. If this is the case, coupled with the Amari Cooper news, Jets Twitter will lose their collective minds tomorrow. All kinds of complaints about no help for Zach. Again, that's one of my big priorities, quite frankly, this offseason, H. Wayne, is they need to surround him with talent. That's why I was okay. I get Amari Cooper was a lot of moolah from a contractual standpoint, but you're helping out Zach Wilson, so sometimes you got to bite the sheets. And I feel like that would have been a scenario where I would have done it, but I'm not running the ship. I'm just running a YouTube channel where all you guys hop in. So, again, different strokes, different folks. We'll find out what happens. Again, there are conflicting reports. I share the Dan Graziano nugget, right, that he's ready to break the bank, he being the Jets, are ready to break the bank for a corner. And then Brian Costello this morning said, hey, wet blanket, the Jets aren't going to go crazy in free agency. So we will ultimately see who is right and who is wrong, but something to keep an eye out for. Alrighty, let's keep going here. Again, wherever you're watching, thumbs up, subscriptions, and all that jazz. Also, feel free to join in on the conversation. This is a live chat with each and every one of you. Let's go back to Caden Smith here. J.C. Jackson would cost too much. Stephon Gilmore, I'm met on. Davis I'd like, but a bit pricey. I like Dante Jackson from Carolina. Let's work our way through here. So the break the bank thing, that's what they would have to do to get J.C. Jackson, a guy who's got 25 career interceptions. He's in his mid-20s. He's a super young guy. He's going to cost a lot of money. And then, of course, cornerbacks get overpaid on the open market all the time. But consider the bidding war for his services. Oh, it's going to be crazy money. I would not be surprised if J.C. Jackson becomes the new highest paid corner in all of football. And that would be $20+ million per year, which would be a wild deal. Again, will they do the Trumaine Johnson crazy money? I don't know. Stephon Gilmore, I'm kind of mad on too. I still think he has some gas left in the tank, but it's weird. But Connor Hughes has been pounding the table. He says, hey, man, Stephon Gilmore Jets, keep an eye out. So I like Connor Hughes, so we'll keep an eye on that. Carlton Davis actually would be, quite frankly, a more affordable option, if you can believe it. J.C. Jackson spot track market value projects, again, that number I just said, over $20+ million per year. Carlton Davis hovering around $14 million. So that's pretty good value if you could get Carlton Davis on that kind of money. Again, I think you could cut it a lot of different ways. For me, one way I would do it is attack offense in free agency and then do that edge corner combo in the first round. You get Sauce Gardner, yes, and maybe Kayvon Thibodeau. I think that'd be phenomenal. We'll see what happens. I like Dante Jackson from Carolina, super fast guy, really great. Matthias, welcome to the live stream. Appreciate you, buddy. King Joe, Allen Robinson. Now, wide receivers are expiring like nobody's business right now. Chris Godwin, of course, who was tagged. Mike Williams signed a long-term deal. So receivers are quickly, more and more, quite frankly, of going through these wide receivers that are kind of disappearing from the pile. So he's a guy I like. The Jets have liked him for a long time. But the fact of the matter is that he could get funky money from everything I'm hearing. I thought initially, maybe naively, I said, oh man, maybe a 1 year deal, high value, maybe 15, 16 million a year. But oh no, it sounds like he's going to get a multi-year deal. We'll see if the Jets are in on him. If they were kind of worrisome about the Amari Cooper contract, I wonder if they would equally be worried about the Allen Robinson deal. Matthias, how is there tampering before the tampering period? Well, see, this is where we get into the funky territory, right? Because the legal tampering period is somewhat of an oxymoron. How can you illegally do something? I don't know. But actually, what the real tampering happens at the NFL Combine. That's where, it's kind of a collection, a hub, quite frankly, of agents, players, teams, general managers, head coaches that can meet at the local establishment. Now, technically, they're not allowed to do this, but how can, if I'm Joe Douglas and I'm with, I don't know, JC Jackson's agent, we're at the bar, throwing a couple cold ones back, and all of a sudden Joe just goes, so what's Jackson looking for? In casual, nonchalant conversation, and booyah, that's kind of the foundation of the tampering. So there is tampering before the legal tampering period, but this is where it really ramps up. And we get a lot of those nuggets that get released on social media. So there is tampering. Again, it's not supposed to happen, but it does. You'd be naive not to think so. All right, back to Caden. Read your list of free agents you want. Caden, your wish is my command. Again, this list I'm about to read are free agents I would like if I was running the ship for the Jets. Some of them, there are correlations and real connections to the Jets and could really happen. This isn't a wish list. This isn't a dream list. These are just guys that tickle my fancy for one reason or another, and some of them do have connections to the Jets, and I will explain that as we go through. One of the first names I'm going to mention is a name I've mentioned in interviews and everywhere where I've been, and people will question it. Chandler Jones, Arizona Cardinals pass rusher. This is a guy that's super durable, despite what some people have said. His stats are unbelievable. He has more sacks than anybody since coming into the league back in 2012. He is a freak of nature. And I think the Jets need a hired mercenary. Now, I'm not saying if you pay money to Chandler Jones, you're not going Kayvon Thibodeau. You're not going whoever your next pass rusher is, Jermaine Johnson, George Karlaftis, whoever your guys, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm not saying if you go Chandler, you don't go there. Quite frankly, they need a lot of guys. They rotate guys in on that defensive line. So Chandler Jones would be high on my list, quite frankly, but he's going to have a lot of interest, so we'll keep an eye out for that one. Another guy I love, and I know all of you are going to hate, but I love this guy, Jadeveon Clowney. He is an elite run defender, and obviously the Jets need help in that department. So Jadeveon Clowney is an elite run defender, and he's solid at pass rushing. He's not quite the pass rusher everyone dreamt he was going to be when he was a number 1 overall pick of the Houston Texans, but he's a very solid pass rusher that obviously when you pair him opposite, like in Cleveland, of Myles Garrett, you see that pass rush uptick. When you see him opposite of a guy like Carl Lawson, perhaps you could get that same thing. So Jadeveon Clowney is another one I really like. I love the fit. I love the player. And again, I know publicly his perception is not great, which, hey, different strokes, different folks. This is one. The next one I'm going to mention has a lot of legs. That is Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger. Okay, there's a lot of love here. Tyrann has been commenting with fans on the jersey number that he would wear if he was to join the Jets, which is number 1, by the way, for those looking for jerseys at home. The Jets have kicked the tires every time he's been a free agent, both in 2018 and 2019. This will be another opportunity to do so. Mike Garafolo said that the Jets and Honey Badger, there could be something there. So there's a lot of smoke around this thing, which we'll get to another smoky subject here that popped up on social in a little bit. But Honey Badger's on my list. Again, a little bit older than you probably want. But I'm going to be honest, a playmaker, versatile, as Mike Garafolo said on Twitter, a quote-unquote culture setter, and the Jets need that. So a nasty, talented defensive back from LSU, I would love him. Now, this is another part where Jeremy Fowler says that tight end will be, quote, a point of emphasis for the Jets in free agency. Now, obviously, a lot of those options have kind of disappeared from the plate. Mike Gesicki, Dalton Schultz, David Njoku, and things of that nature. But here's some tight ends I really like. And I think you sign one of these guys that I'm going to mention, and then you draft another guy. maybe 69 overall in the third round, maybe in the fourth or fifth round potentially. There's a lot of depth, starting depth in the draft. Zach Ertz, obviously, Joe Douglas connection, Eagles. He's a guy that's a pro's pro. Again, the Joe Douglas connection. And who knows the money that he's going to come on, but I'm telling you that Zach Ertz would just be a solid guy that you can bring in and pair with a youngster to kind of learn from him. I like that. O.J. Howard, he's been a Jets, guy that we've been dreaming about for a long time out of Alabama. Super talented guy, hasn't lived up to the potential in the NFL. Here's another one that, again, I know is going to piss off a lot of Jet fans who are watching right now on the channel. Evan Ingram. Okay, and I get it. He's had the drop skis with the Giants, but he's a bigger slot guy coming out of Ole Miss, super athletic, super talented. He's a guy I like a lot too, and you're kind of taking a dart throw on someone like that. So I really like Evan Ingram. I mentioned LDT earlier. Jets would re-sign him, mutual interest. We'll keep an eye out for that one. Another guy, you guys remember this, Keanu Neal. Remember, last year it was between the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Jets per Josina Anderson on the two teams that he was picking between. And he went with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys had unbelievable depth at linebacker, so it was a little confusing at first who was going to get the PT because at that time, you had Jalen Smith, Leighton Vander Esch, you had Jabril Cox out of LSU, you had Keanu Neal. I mean, you had a million guys, so it was hard for all of them to get on the field. Now he is a free agent again. Keanu Neal is a guy I would circle. He fits the athletic trait. Again, remember, he converted a little bit to linebacker with the Cowboys, also has safety knowledge. That's a perfect Robert Saleh guy. I would be all in on Keanu Neal. We mentioned James Daniels. I'll drop three more names here real quick, and then we'll go to your other questions and comments here on the live stream. Again, the Jets are projected to break the bank in free agency, according to Dan Graziano, and all kinds of fun free agency nuggets as I'm kind of dumping them out here. A couple names to watch out for. So DJ Chark is another guy on my list. Now, the only thing I fear is I thought he was my best kept secret. Like, ooh, DJ Chark. Fast guy, nice size, never has really popped in the NFL for a variety of reasons, mostly injuries. And I'm like, oh man, maybe the Jets can find him on a really nice deal. But the whispers I'm hearing are 10 plus million per year on DJ Chark. And that gives me a little bit of hesitation. And then if a couple of teams are interested, which I've heard a couple of teams are, like New England and a couple others, you're like, oh boy, maybe the money's going to get too crazy here on this quote unquote dart throw. So I'm a little worried about that. Here's another name that's not getting any buzz whatsoever, but the Jets have done their homework on him, Tavon Austin. Remember, way back in the day, the Jets wanted to draft him with the 9th overall pick back in 2013. The St. Louis Rams knew that, so they traded up with the Buffalo Bills and cock-blocked the Jets and took Tavon Austin with the 8th overall pick. Jets pivoted and went D. Milner. We all know how that worked out. But the Jets really wanted him back then a bunch of regimes ago. Now, fast forward to now, they recently worked him out in the last year and a half or so, brought him in, kicked the tires, and he's that versatile Cordero Patterson, running back, wide receiver, everything. And I think Mike LaFleur, quite frankly, would like one of those gizmo, go-go gadget players on the team. Tavon Austin, okay? Keep an eye out for him. Just want to throw that out there. I'm not hearing anybody talk about that. And one more dart throw I want to throw out there, a guy that I loved coming out of the draft and unfortunately got hurt in the pre-draft process, and he's never been able to recover. Sidney Jones, a former corner out of Washington, bounced around the league a little. He's a nice dart throw at the cornerback position if the Jets want to go there. Those are my names, Caden. Those are my names that I'm either hearing things or I like or what have you. That is my list right there. We have more free agency nuggets to get into, but let's keep going here on the live stream. Okay, let's go to John Bradley here. How do you feel going Sauce Gardner at 4 and Ajabo at 10? To me, here's the thing, John. First off, I love Sauce Gardner. I'm in love with the prospect. I was in love with the athletic tests that he passed at the combine. I don't think he's going to be there at 10. So I think if you want Sauce, you're going to have to bite the bullet and pull the trigger at 4. And again, if you attack, offense in free agency, and Kayvon Thibodeau is not on the board, because that would be very tough for me. If Sauce and KT are both sitting there, that's a tough conversation. Very tough. But if they're off the board, then you don't have to make that decision. And Sauce there at 4, I'd be interested. I love Ajabo. I mean, and again, hey, speaking of across seas, he is a Scottish Nigerian, born in Nigeria, moved to Scotland when he was 7 years old. There's a lot of raw traits there, which I really like from Ajabo. And I heard one person say that in 3 or 4 years, he could be one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. But again, a lot of rawness there. He doesn't have a ton of experience playing the football the sport of football. So that's a little bit of a projection, but again, I mean, can the Jets afford to do that? So for me, how would I feel? That would be a great combination. Again, the combination I'm looking for in the draft right now is like a corner, great, so Sauce, and then an edge rusher. That would be great. Paul A. Eston Sr., Landry is garbage. Again, for me, I don't feel like I'd be in love with the Jarvis Landry fit. Again, I mentioned that earlier. Jeremy Fowler says if he's released, he would have a strong market, and the Jets would be one of the teams that would be interested. For me, again, a super possession guy that, again, would fit the slot role that the Jets would be looking for, but I think he'd be too overpriced, quite frankly. And the player in general had a lot of issues where he went on this weird Twitter rant and kind of called out the team and all kinds of other stuff. He kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies, so I'm not sure if I'm in on Landry. Ikeem Green, I like DJ Chark, great value, won't cost a lot. Again, that may be changing, Green, to be honest with you, is I'm hearing a lot of flavor where he'd be 10 plus million a year and then maybe a bidding war there. So that kind of concerns me. But the player I love the traits. I love the traits on paper. Let's go Anthony G on YouTube. Hurst or Max Williams? Who would you rather the Jets prioritize? That's a tough one because I think Max is a really good blocker, but I think there's some receiving upside there. Hurst, obviously, the former first rounder, the South Carolina Gamecock, and again, the Ravens and Falcons. If I had a gun to my head, I'd go Hurst. Although Connor Rogers is a big Max Williams guy. So, I think you could go either way, but if I had a gun to my head, it would be Hurst. I think he's a very solid guy. And again, you're going to pair him with a draft pick anyway. So I think there'd be a nice combination, nice upgrade there for the Jets. Eddie, sign Zach Ertz, 100%. I'm on board. Don't think it would be a lot. I would be all for Zach Ertz. Anthony G, what's your top number you're willing to spend on Berrios? I've been asked this before. I'm hovering around like 5.5 to 6 mil. That's it. Because again, if Braxton Berrios is like your starting slot receiver, then you failed in the offseason. That means you went through the whole gambit and then you're like, well, I guess Berrios will be the guy. So he's probably not. That's probably not going to happen. So he's like your fourth receiver. You're paying your fourth receiver 5 or 6 million. You got to make sure you get the bang for your buck. And if you're getting the bang for your buck, you need to use him all over the place. Again, I'm not going above 6. 6 is my line. I'm drawing the line in the sand at 6 million. And if someone's going to pay him 7, 8, 9 million a year, God bless Braxton. Enjoy the money you will get on the open market. And the thing is with fans, right? So Jet fans, again, not only am I the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com, Boy Green, nice to meet you for all the people that are watching this live right now, but I'm also a diehard Jets fan, and I try to balance the two. And I'll tell you, is that from a fan standpoint, I'd love to keep Berrios, right? He's a Jets find. He's been good. He's developed here, and you want to pay those kind of guys. But the problem is you can't overpay those guys. So it's a fine line, but that's around 6, maybe 6.5. But I just won't go beyond that. I'm sorry. It'll just get too crazy. Let's go Caden here. Landry isn't a wide receiver 1. He's a 2. I'd be okay with trading a late round pick for Landry, drafting our 50-50 guy in London at 10. I'm going to be honest. I'd rather just, if you want Landry, which is fine. If you want Landry, that's okay. I'm waiting for him to get cut. I'm not trading a late round pick because the latest round the Jets have in 2022 anyway is a 5th rounder. They don't have a 6th. They don't have a 7th. So they'd have to dive into 2023. Although maybe Cleveland's open to that because if they're just going to cut him anyway, they probably get something better than nothing. But I'd probably wait for him to get cut, to be honest with you. And I love the 50-50 comment for Drake London. He's one of my favorite receivers in the draft. He is a freak of Mother Nature, great size. Now, not quite the size USC told us he was at 6'5". He's actually 6'3 and 3/8. You can basically, or 6'3 and 7/8. He's basically 6'4". So he's a really talented guy that can climb the imaginary ladder and make all these crazy contested catches, and he intrigues me greatly. So that would be a nice combination, though, if they go in that direction. Gangrene Palace here. They don't need wide receiver 1. They need a deep threat that helps the growth of Elijah Moore to become the wide receiver 1. That's an interesting concept. And I think Elijah Moore has those capabilities to be a wide receiver 1. A deep threat would be nice. Again, a DJ Chark, maybe a Garrett Wilson, maybe if you go to the draft route. But if, to your point, you try to go with a mid-tier option, but here's the problem with that strategy, Gangrene, before I take a nice sip of a cold Dewey over here, is that if Elijah gets hurt, which he got hurt last year, Corey Davis got hurt, which he did, then you're stuck with this mid-tier vertical threat option like whoever your insert guy is. And I think that's where you get funky. If you bring in a true number one, you just increase the overall depth of the unit. And there's no problem with having two number ones. What if you bring in a guy like, I don't know, Allen Robinson, let's just say, and then Elijah emerges as a number one? Then you have two number ones. That's a first world problem I would be cool with. And again, another reminder as I'm about to take a drink of a nice cold Dewey here, make sure wherever you're watching, you show your support, thumbs up, and hit the subscribe button on YouTube for more great New York Jets content. You can also follow me on Twitter at BoyGreen25 on the scrolling ticker down below. But keep those comments coming, everybody. Oh, yeah. That's the stuff. Okay. Let's keep rolling here. It's Snoopy on YouTube. Cooper went for a pack of Doritos. Oh, that got me. Thank God I didn't. I would have spit out my drink. It's Snoopy. Thank God I didn't read that before I took that drink. Who is better that's available? Highly disappointed in JD, but lost all faith in him. That's too far. I will say this, though. My overriding emotional thing on the Amari Cooper thing is I'm disappointed. I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. I was angry a little and then ultimately disappointed. That's like the parental thing, right? You'd much rather be disappointed, or you'd much rather your parents be angry at you than disappointed. It just feels worse, right? But I'll tell you, and it's because of the compensation. He went for a 5th round pick and a swapping of 6th round picks. I mean, we're talking about, to your point, a bag of Doritos. I love saying the line, a half-eaten Snickers bar. Like, come on, man. And who is better that's available? I mean, I guess we will see. Maybe there's another name we're not considering on the trade market or what have you. But, man, I love Amari Cooper. I think his route running is disgusting. I think he just jukes people out of their shoes all the time. My dad's a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, so I've seen all of Cooper, and he's a freak. I would have loved to get him, but apparently they're worried about money. But I think that would have been worth paying the price, quite frankly. That's my opinion, but hey, different strokes, different folks, I suppose. Let's go to Matthias here. If you're not getting one of these top wide receiver free agents, then draft one and spend your money on a safety, linebacker, or edge free agent. Don't spend just to spend. I agree. They shouldn't spend just to spend because that's happened in the past. Remember the Anthony Barr stuff, right? They were going to spend it on Anthony Barr, and when Anthony Barr fell through, then they shifted over to like Le'Veon Bell and all these other guys. And it was like the money was burning a hole in their pocket. They're like, we got to get rid of the money. We got to get rid of the moolah. Let's throw it at anything. Like, no, for God's sakes, please don't do that. But if you have a strategic, aggressive plan, like we're going after this, we're going after that, like, okay, I'm all for, throwing caution to the wind, and we'll be excited on these YouTube videos going, wow, the Jets threw $60 million at this guy. Like, that'd be fun. In terms of money, right? You think of all those guys I mentioned, edge guys, a lot of edge guys out there. Linebacker, there's a couple interesting guys. I'd like some scheme fits. Bobby Wagner, depending on that price, would be interesting. Safety, again, whether you want to go top of the market, Marcus Williams or Jordan Whiteheads or Deshaun Elliott's or, what have you. There are those kind of Eric Reed, Justin Reed, some of these guys that are out there. Those would make sense. But don't spend just to spend. That's a good idea. Paul A. Eston Sr., who is a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, could have had Cooper cheap in trade. Miles better than Landry. I agree. Again, it's just they were apparently upset at the contract. So take that for what you will. Sun Moon Rise 31. Hello from Germany. We are an international show, baby. I love it. Again, wherever you're watching, all over the world, I appreciate all the support we've had on the channel. Again, over 1,000 subscribers. That was my goal, to get there by draft time. And we smashed it to smithereens because you guys are amazing. And we've gotten there a month and a half in advance. So let's just keep that baby rising. All right. Predict which positions the Jets will wrap up in terms of acquisitions even before the draft. Okay. I believe, despite the break the bank stuff, maybe they do. Again, there's going to be some truth serum this week because they have nowhere to hide. But the break the bank for a corner, I'm not buying that. Okay, I don't think so. Maybe they do. But my prediction, I think they get Sauce Gardner in the draft, so that covers the corner thing. So I believe if you're going to do that, they are going to add an edge guy. It won't be completely shut down, but they're going to add an edge guy, whoever that is, Derek Barnett from the Eagles, Chandler Jones, whoever. We can look through the names, but I think they're going to do that and still draft one because this is the deepest edge class I've heard in a decade, so that's great news. Let's see, what other positions? Right guard, I think they will establish before the draft, which opens up flexibility, whether that's James Daniels Brandon Scherf. And I got to say, I would not want Brandon Scherf. This is a bag of injured mangoes. Okay. I don't want this guy. He hasn't played a full season since 2016. That is like one of my worst feared free agents, because I know there'd be a lot of Jet fans who would celebrate that signing. To me, I would be scared as hell. I'd come on here and go, wow, here's the money. This is why I'm concerned. Hope it works out. Fingers crossed. He's a guy. But I think if you get like a James Daniels, you're in really great shape and re-sign LDT. So predictions there. I think they address offensive line. Running back, I think, is a draft thing. So the power running back, I don't see happening in free agency. It will be cheaper in the draft. So I think that's where they go there. They got 9 picks in the draft. I think they find a bigger back on day 3. Let me try to go through everything. So offensive line, I think they do in free agency. Running back, I think it's draft. Tight end, I think it's a double two-pronged approach. I think you sign one of the many free agents that are out there, Gerald Everett, Zach Ertz, O.J. Howard, Evan Ingram, whoever, and then you pair that with a draft pick. So that's kind of a double-pronged approach there. Quarterback will be free agency. I think they're going to re-sign Joe Flacco. We'll see with the tender situation on Mike White. Defensively, Hog Molly could be a big, juicy defensive tackle. Is a free agency thing, I think. A cheap guy, again, I don't know if Star Latuile is going to be the dirt cheap one, but someone's going to be out there that's just a space eater from that standpoint. The Jets really like their linebackers, so if they ignore the position, don't be surprised. Safety may be another one. I don't think it's completely wrapped up. I think they're going to, grab whether it's Marcus Williams or some second-tier free agent, and they will also pair that with the draft. So I think that covers about everything. But that's basically my predictions for a wide series of that. By the way, I love the Mortal Kombat logo. I don't think I've ever told you that, but I love that. Let's see. John Hepburn, welcome to the show. Matt Arizor, punter, San Diego State. This kid is amazing. He's kicking 80 to 86-yard punts. He can also kick field goals. This is a weapon that can flip the field. It's funny. Over the years, we've talked about these punters that are dual threats. Like Kari Vedvik was supposed to be. Yikes, sorry to bring that name up. And who was the other one? Oh, Matt Amendola last year, right? Who was supposed to be a punter and a kicker. So I don't believe they invest a draft pick. They have plenty of other holes, but it could be. If he's a UDFA, I think they'll kick the tires on him. John Hepburn. Buffalo's making a play for Chandler Jones. We can't let Buffalo get him. That would suck because, again, Chandler Jones is a freak. He's got a wide array of pass rush moves in his arsenal. He's an absolute freak. If he goes anywhere, I know Denver is super interested, so they could go after him again with Russell Wilson. I think they're going to try to go crazy in free agency to try to make a Super Bowl run. I hope it's not Buffalo. I mean, the New York thing would make sense. Again, for those who don't know, I've mentioned this on a couple live streams. Chandler Jones and his family are from Endicott, New York, born and raised here in New York, went to college at Syracuse. His brother John Jones, one of the, arguably to me, the best mixed martial artists of all time. His brother Arthur Jones, NFLers. I think he would welcome a return back to New York. Hopefully, though, it's the New York Jets, not the Buffalo Bills. But we'll keep an eye out for that. Hopefully not. That's one that would make me cry. I don't think we're going to pay $15+ million for a 29-year-old safety. I'm assuming, Adam, you're talking about the Honey Badger. So we will see. Again, we'll see what the money gets up to. I've heard 13, 14, 15. I've heard that. So we will see. Well, Marcus Williams, if you want to go 25-year-old, right? Yeah, he's probably going to be in that same ballpark. So if you want the slightly younger guy, maybe he's option numero uno. Adam bringing up, yes, Cox, Mo Alley Cox, the former basketball player who's with Indianapolis. Now, that's an intriguing dart throw. I didn't put him on my list, but he's certainly up there as a guy with high athletic traits, and you project. I mean, that's sometimes what free agency is. You're not paying for what he's done in the past, but what he can do for you in the future. I like Mo Alley Cox. That'd be a very smart ad. Johnny Quest, I used to love that show on YouTube. Hoping the Jets are working on a DK deal, sign $18 million and trade 10 and a 4th rounder. That's too rich for me, Johnny. I like it, but it's too rich for me. Again, if they're giving up 10, then Seattle's sending something back, not the other way around. Again, DK, and I've explained this in the past, there's another DK Metcalf video you guys can check out on the channel where I put together potential trade packages the Jets could send to Seattle. And I will say this, that while DK in himself, in a nutshell, right, in a vacuum, right, is worth the 10th overall pick, but why he's not worth the 10th overall pick, and why no one in the entire NFL is going to give up a top 10 pick for DK Metcalf is because old DK Metcalf is due to be paid. He's entering the last year of his rookie contract, and he's going to want to get paid like major money. And that's going to be somewhere in the 18, 19, 20 plus million dollars per year. And if the Jets are going to pay that, they're not going to pay him and give Seattle an unbelievable package of assets. I think the trades that make sense. And again, you can watch a whole video on my YouTube channel, the DK Metcalf video. But the packages to me that make sense is giving up like number 35 overall, which is a second rounder, and like a 2023 third rounder that could become a second. So a pair of seconds, that maybe, okay, I could see that. Maybe the Seattle, who now owns the number 9 overall pick in the upcoming draft, they could switch, package number 9 and DK and switch to 4, and maybe the Jets flip another mid-rounder at them. That's possible. Again, the 10 is too much. 10 is too much for me. I get it. Again, 10, you say, well, the Jets could draft any receiver with number 10. Sure, you could. But again, no one else is going to give up a top 10 pick for DK. No one in the entire NFL. I'm telling you, no one in the league. Throw egg on my face if I'm wrong. I am willing to guarantee here on March 13th, there is no one in the NFL that give up a top 10 pick for DK Metcalf because, again, you have to pay him, and I think that's a big difference. But again, if they're working on a DK trade, I don't care about any of my Amari Cooper takes. Bring DK to me again. 6'4", 235 pounds, 4'3", 40. He's a freak and high upside. Again, super young player, still at 24 years of age. King Joe on YouTube, Zach Ertz and Trey McBride. That would be a ripe combo. Trey McBride could be had at 35 or 38. There are some that believe you should not take a tight end that high in this draft based on the class in general. Dane Brugler said that, but we'll see. I think that'd be a phenomenal combination. Zach Wilson would have a lot of nice weapons there. Caden Smith, Boy Green, by the way, congrats on 1,000 subscribers. Again, fans, thank you so much. I couldn't do this without you. It's funny. I started this YouTube channel maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And I did it ahead of that final Adam Gase season, which was god-awful. I just thought, oh, man, I'll do cool pregame shows here that fans will appreciate, postgame shows and stuff. And then that was like, okay, successful. And then I'm like, you know what? Let me just kind of put myself out there, do streams and everything else. And the response has been unbelievable. So again, this is an ode, quite frankly, to you guys. So thank you so much. It humbles me greatly that you guys are on the channel. We got like a 70, 75 people in here right now. This is so cool. This means the world to me. I'm glad I get to share this and have conversations with all of you. So Caden, really, that means the world. Thank you so much. And to anyone and everyone who'd like to subscribe, make sure you do so. It's scrolling on the ticker below, youtube.com/boygreen25. And if you could take a moment, hit the thumbs up on the video. It makes a tremendous difference for all of us and the content we're trying to produce. When I see the thumbs up, I'm like, okay, you guys are liking the content. So that's great. Keep going here. Robert Killian, Spot Trek has Ertz at 7.5. That's probably right. Again, the top of the line market is, 12, 13, 14 million a year. So he's obviously short of that. He's an older player, but that would be interesting. Dark Soldier, Mo Alley Cox, Max Williams, DJ Chark. I'd be happy with any of those, as would I. All those guys would be pretty high on my list. I would not complain about that. And I knew these were coming, so here we go. Eat your crow. Oh, hell no on Ingram. Again, I get it. If you guys don't want Ingram, you've seen him with the Giants. He's had some brutal drops. He had a couple fumbles. Again, if you guys don't want Evan Ingram, I get it. But if you dream the dream and try to do the Mel Kiper thing and just like keep your draft blinders on and evaluate what he was coming out of college and say, you know what, he's been used horribly there with the Giants. Maybe we can fix him. Maybe we can save him. It wouldn't be crazy money. It'd be a dart throw. But he's a guy. He's a project I'd be willing to do. I'm like one of those homes, where a bird gets kind of injured on the outside. I put that little bird with a broken wing in a shoebox, bring it inside, nurse it back to health, and then see that bird soar and spread like a peacock and fly out there. I would love for that to be the beautiful evolution of Evan Ingram. And come on, if Evan Ingram is a raving success with us, that makes the Giants look like idiots, which is great for us. So, hey, there you go. Big Green, howdy, Boy Green, howdy diddly, folks. Thank you for joining me, Big Green. BG in the building. Let's keep rolling here. All right, King Blaze. We need a young wide receiver 1 for Wilson and chemistry for a long time. Can't break up chemistry of a QB and wide receiver. That chemistry could get you to the Super Bowl. Here's my only thing on the chemistry, which again I agree with, by the way. Maybe you hit a Jamar Chase. Maybe you hit a Justin Jefferson, right? Where you hit a receiver and they are instant impact, instant offense, and they're like a transcendent megastar immediately. That happens. Unfortunately, it's few and far between. Those examples I brought up are more so the outliers than the consistent. The reason why I've been more an advocate, and again, I would drool if the Jets draft the receiver in the first round. Which, by the way, I love all five of them, and the five, of course, are Jameson Williams of Alabama, Traylon Burks of Arkansas, Garrett Wilson of Ohio State, Drake London of USC, and Chris Olave of OSU. I love all of those guys, and if I took any one of those guys, I'd be doing a little Irish jig out here. That'd be phenomenal. Fantastic. And I would love to get that jersey immediately. But I think the better play here for the New York Jets is to get someone, in theory, a veteran that can help out right now, immediately. You know exactly what they are. The Amari Cooper example. Okay. He's a player that you know immediately right now what he is. There's no developing, there's no growing, there's no waiting. You just know, wow, this is a really, really good wide receiver. The draft is somewhat of a crapshoot. We don't know. We don't know what these players are going to be. So it is a bit of a guessing game. Now, in the long term, if that's the long-term prognosis, you bring in a Garrett Wilson or whoever your wide receiver is, then for the long term, you're great. You're set. You have a young Elijah Moore. You have a young whoever the receiver is. And you have Zach Wilson. They're all growing together. So that's not a bad plan either. DK can be better than most receivers. Agreed, 100%. We're on the same page there, King Blaze. Sauce, not Jackson. Again, I am on board with Sauce Gardner with a top 10 pick over J.C. Jackson, who's probably going to be $20 million a year. Again, we agree on that hot take, King Blaze. Throw the bag to a wide receiver. Now, we will see if any of them are worth throwing the bag at. Maybe Allen Robinson, but coming off his tough year, I'm a little concerned. But if you maintain the long term there and say, well, he's been really great his whole career with crappy quarterbacks like Blake Bortles and Mitchell Trubisky, with us, he's going to be fine. Plus, since Allen is going to have options, the other thing you have to consider there is Allen Robinson willing to pick the Jets. So it takes two to tango. Big Green, that is the one fair concern with Ojabo. He's only played 1 year. He's a bit of a one-year wonder. And, of course, he was lined up opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. Now, both of those players get the benefit of each other, but that is a concern, and that could be, a bust potential there. You're doing a lot of projecting and saying, wow, he did it for this 1 year, but, man, in our scheme and our coaching and everything, with Sal and all those guys, you have to keep that in mind, but super talented. I do want to bring up this point. Anthony G. Ojabo is more of a 3-4 edge, though I thought. Now, I want to address this because we talk about this all the time. And this is a great – so, Anthony, I'm glad you brought this up on the show. All the time we hear, certain edge players, because edge is probably the best example of this, where we hear about a player and say, wow, this guy can't be a fit with the Jets. The Jets run a 4-3. Or in the past, the Jets run a 3-4. That guy doesn't fit. Like, well, Arnold Ebiketie, as another example at Penn State. Look, he's 6'2", 250. Where does he fit with the Jets, right? Like, here's how I look at it. And again, you're right. I've heard people say that he would project as a 3-4 edge and all this other stuff. Here's my take, Anthony. I believe in Robert Saleh. I believe in Jeff Obry. I say if they can get a really good pass rusher, Ojabo, Ebiketie, Jermaine Johnson, Kayvon Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson, whoever your guys, whatever the example is, regardless of their scheme past, right, of 3-4, 4-3, whatever, I believe they can find a way to get the best with them, whether it's hand in the dirt, whether it's stand-up edge rusher, whether it's some combination of a chess piece moving around the board. I don't sell myself to, oh, wow, this guy is only a 3-4 guy, or this guy is only a 4-3 guy. Robert Saleh is talented. I trust in the process. I trust in the coaching, and I believe if they get the players, they're going to figure it out. They're going to figure out how to use them, where to use them. So I do not slave myself to the 3-4, 4-3 edge stuff. I think Ojabo can be a 4-3 pass rusher. I think he can. I think Arnold Ebiketie could be a pass rusher for the Jets, despite the size questions of a 6'2", 250 or whatever he is. I think Robert Saleh is good enough to figure it out. That's my take. Again, other people will tell you that insert edge is off my board because he won't fit the scheme. I trust in Robert Saleh. I think he can figure it out with Ojabo or any one of these guys. But I'm glad you brought this up because this is one of the common misconceptions to me on Twitter is that a guy is labeled this scheme or that scheme and that he can't possibly be there for the Jets. And I don't think that's true. And remember, here's a great example, a Jets example, right? In 2013, the Jets drafted Sheldon Richardson with the number 13 overall pick out of Missouri. If you guys remember, the Jets were immediately eviscerated for that pick because they said Sheldon Richardson doesn't fit the scheme. How the heck is this going to work? And what I said back then, and I say that same message now, it's not a straight verbatim same thing, but the example I use is I said, I trust Rex Ryan. Let's see if he can figure it out. Sheldon Richardson won the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. He figured it out, and I think he would fit. Again, it's not Rex Ryan now, but I trust defensive coaches to figure it out, and I think they would. But a great point, Anthony. Great point. I love having that on the show. Flash, Aussie. Interesting. Douglas highlighted in his last presser the Bengals strategy in free agency. One splash signing Hendrickson and make them more lower to mid-tier guys. That's interesting. They also mentioned the Rams thing of trading for superstars. I don't know if I would take, that much into, not that everything they said was bullshit, but I don't think I would take in when they mentioned the Bengals strategy or Ram strategy or what have you, say, oh, wow, they mentioned that because that's what they're going to do. I think everyone's different. It is a copycat league, though, so it's possible, but it is a copycat league. Let's go to David D on YouTube. Hey, Paul, quote-unquote, breaking the bank in regard to JD based on what? What Jets should do or JD's work history, a big player or two beyond 15 million. I'd be good with smart choices. Yeah, so I know a lot of you guys are just joining in now, so you didn't see the stream from like an hour ago. But I'll bring it back. And again, another reminder, make sure you hit the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. It's been a lot of fun. We'll try to do this for another little bit here. I'll go rapid fire through the rest of these questions. We'll be on for another 15, 20 minutes or so. The Breaking the Bank comment came from Dan Graziano of ESPN. He released it in his ESPN notebook earlier today, where he said that the Jets, from people he talked to, the Jets would be the team willing to, quote unquote, break the bank for a cornerback in free agency. And he name dropped Carlton Davis of the Bucs and J.C. Jackson of the Patriots. But earlier I went through the long list of the top corners. I'll go back through it real quick. Here are the top corners, according to Pro Football Focus, who are set to be free agents. So I mentioned J.C. Jackson, mentioned Carlton Davis. There's Stephon Gilmore, Casey Hayward Jr., Darius Williams, Steven Nelson, Charvarius Ward, and DJ Reed Jr. Those are all the top corners available per Pro Football Focus's free agency ranking. So the breaking the bank comment was in reference to the Jets willing to throw funny money at corner. Again, we will see. If they do, it would be historic, because it would be historic for Joe Douglas to reset a market, which would be what would happen for J.C. Jackson. Carlton Davis, I don't think he resets a market, but he gets a really nice deal. So that is what that comment is in reference to. And again, there's conflicting reports whether or not the Jets will do this. Again, Brian Costello this morning of the New York Post said, oh, no, the Jets are not going crazy in free agency. Dan Graziano, a national reporter, says, oh, yes, they are. And here's where they're going to go with the money. We'll figure it out. So so that's interesting. It is an interesting comment. Let's go to YouTube here. Hawk. DK is worth 2 first-rounders plus a 4-year contract for $100 million. That move makes us a legitimate contender for the next 4 years on Zach's rookie deal. We still have a haul of picks, including number 4. Hawk, I love you, buddy. And again, DK would be exciting. He would be phenomenal if they got him. But, again, to me, I think you have to do it smartly. And we'll see if even he's available. Again, it depends where Deshaun Watson lands. Like, if he somehow lands in Seattle, they're not trading DK Metcalf. But I have a better feeling he lands in Carolina. That's been my thought process for a while. But that's where he goes. So I think you would give them an instant number 1 wide receiver and pair him back with Elijah Moore. Again, I would love that. Buffalo Jet fan. That's a new one. Top return guys who don't play offense at all make $2 million, so you can tack that on top of his value as a wide receiver. That's interesting, right? So unfortunately, it's all projection at wide receiver. We've only seen a very, very, very limited sample size for Braxton Berrios. So it's tough because there's like no one to compare him to. Like he's a little bit, I don't want to use unicorn because people will overreact to that, but it's like a unicorn. Like there's just no, like, is he Kendrick Bourne? Like that was a $15 million deal over 3 years. Like, what is he? Because like, this is such a unique scenario with how they use him, but it will be interesting. Again, my line is $6.5 million. Richie B, with Njoku getting tagged by the Browns, a name that has not been talked about is Austin Hooper from the Browns that can be traded for a day 3 pick and has a reasonable contract at $13 million. Richie B, whether this is bullshit or not, from what I've heard, the Browns are on board keeping Austin Hooper. They love the 2 tight end set. So take that for what you will. But, if he shook free, he's a very solid tight end, which would be interesting for a late pick. I'd be curious. I kick the tires. But like I said, I really actually love the free agent option. So I'd rather go there, but that's something to keep an eye out for. Buffalo Jet fan. Also, our top 2 wide receivers missed a combined 14 games last year. Must be 4 deep at wide receiver. I think that is more so a conversation not just for Braxton, but for the Jets in general to attack the position. I think, because think about it, they're going to lose Keelan Cole. They're going to lose Jamison Crowder. They could lose Braxton Berrios. Like, they're losing a lot of their depth. So they may sign a couple Keelan Coles, not Keelan Cole himself, but those type of receivers early to be deep at wide receiver. I think that's really important. So I don't think it's more so a Braxton Berrios narrative. I think it's a Jets narrative in general. Let's keep going here. He's on his last year. Seahawks no teams can wait for DK to be a free agent, so they can't ask a lot. I agree. That will limit the market. That is definitely going to limit the package, I think, for that. I think that will really limit the package. I'm seeing this conversation kind of in the chat. Don't need another slot guy. Actually, again, what the Jets would like to do, again, we will see how it works. Elijah Moore has versatility to play both in the slot and on the outside. So if the Jets brought in a Landry, they'd be saying Elijah Moore stay on the outside and we're good. Again, I'd prefer a number 1 wide receiver, and then Elijah can kind of flip where needed. He can play in the slot. He can play on the outside. He did a lot of that in college. I'd like the combination. Let's see. DK can be had for a second rounder and a third. I hope you're right. Let's keep going here. Buffalo Jets fan. Oh, okay, here we go. Frank Clark going to be cut by KC. Should we consider him? 100%. You got to consider all cut options. Another one we'll watch out for when he's officially released is Darius Smith of the Green Bay Packers. They did their homework on him when he was in free agency a couple years ago. That one is one that has a lot of fire. So remember that name. Matthias, Tyler Lockett. Again, the money's kind of crazy in Tyler Lockett. We'll see. But again, obviously, if they hit the reset button, you would have to consider him one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL. Okay. Again, wherever you're watching, feel free in the last couple of minutes here to throw any remaining comments you have. This is just kind of a free agency dump. Let me see. Oh, yes. Let me bring up this before I go to any more questions. Jeremy Fowler, and there's a lot of buzz around this, both from Dan Graziano and Jeremy Fowler, and quite frankly, from everything I've heard, there's a lot of smoke around Ryan Jensen, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers center, to the New York Jets. Now, this is one of two things. Either this is completely true, and it's the most worst-kept secret in history that Joe Douglas apparently has man love for Ryan Jensen, or it's the biggest smokescreen of all time. And to be honest, I have no idea what the smokescreen is for, but whatever. Okay. There's a lot of Jets Ryan Jensen talk. I've heard it for a month. I at first I didn't believe it, but I keep hearing it. So it's either, again, it's smoke. And let me explain these free agency terms. When you hear smoke is rumors. Smoke screen is like a fake rumor. Like, ooh, let me throw this little smoke screen grenade over there and we'll see what happens. Let's just see the ripple effects of that. But in this particular case, there's a lot of smoke, aka rumors, on Ryan Jensen to the Jets. We will find out this week whether it's real or not. And if the Jets signed Ryan Jensen, they would then probably cut Connor McGovern, or they'd get him to slice his contract and keep him as depth or kick him to guard. There's a lot of options there, but the Jets will not cut him if they're going to until they have Ryan Jensen's ink dry on the contract. So keep that in mind, people. Remember that one. But there's a lot of smoke around that, so I definitely had to get to that one as well. And another name that was mentioned by Jeremy Fowler, DJ Jones, 49ers. Keep an eye out for him. And that's most of the Nuggets so far. And I'll see if I could drop any more before we get out of here. Let's see. Keep it simple, RC. Free agents come in 5 flavors. Over the hill, overpriced, locker room cancer, not that good, undervalued. I like that JD uses the draft to get core players. Number 1 wide receiver should come via the draft. I like your categories. Let's put that on a t-shirt. That's funny. Again, wherever you guys are watching, feel free to drop in any questions or comments or topics, and we'll get to those here on the show before we get out of here. It's been a fun live stream. Again, another note, a nugget real quick, guys. Again, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit thumbs up. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. it drops on my YouTube channel, an interview with Connor Rogers. Every Monday we do a mock draft Monday where you have an insider from somewhere in the world. We had Damian Woody this week. We have Connor Rogers next week. Next week, technically speaking, tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And we have a lot of big-name guests coming. So make sure you guys check that out. Again, Connor Rogers dropping on the channel at 8 a.m. tomorrow. He's one of my favorite interviews to do. He knows the Jets so intimately well. He's fantastic. So keep an eye out for that dropping on the channel tomorrow. Okay. Let's see. All right. Okay, trying to get through the questions here. All right, we got Jeff Seawald here. Yo, Boy Green, love the channel. We need athletic freaks. What are your thoughts on Christian Watson at wide receiver? Also signed Cordero Patterson to be wide receiver 3 and 4, compete for RB1 and RB2. And for special teams, Jeff, that's one of my names. I didn't even put it on my list, but I love Cordero Patterson. I'll start with the latter question first. He'd be great scheme fit, versatile, gizmo gadget guy. I prefer Cordero Patterson to Braxton Berrios, so maybe that's a hot take. But he'd be great on special teams. And Christian Watson, again, he's been buzzing since the Senior Bowl, lit up the combine, had Megatron-like statistics at the combine. And if we need athletic freaks, he's obviously that. Probably an option at 35 or 38. I've heard first-round buzz, but I don't buy it. I believe ultimately it goes early day 2. So keep an eye out for that. But he's very interesting. Let's see. Okay, let's go to Flash from Panama. Michael Nani is from Jets X Factor. Favorite signings to fit scheme and not break the bank. James Daniels or Tomlinson, DJ Jones, and Russell Gage. So Daniels, I think, will break the bank. Maybe I'll be surprised. I think he's going to get a lot of money. Tomlinson's a left guard. They're projecting at right guard from the 49ers, but scheme versatile. So he knows the scheme, excuse me. So that would make sense. DJ Jones, sure. Russell Gage, that would be one of those ones that wouldn't excite you, but would be nice depth at wide receiver. Those are kind of cool names, though. I did not see that. Let's see. Justin Reed would be a much better value. I like that. I think he would be. We'll see if he shakes free from Houston. There's a lot of love still there. Matthias, as he said, hit the like button, all you guys on YouTube. I'd appreciate it. Let's go. NY Jets fan 4. Give me Marcus Williams and a guard. Anything after that is gravy. Hey, that'd be phenomenal. That'd be a great start. Let's see. Keep it rolling here. People are sleeping on Zach Ertz, 2 years removed from a record-breaking tight end season. Again, yeah, he is phenomenal. He is phenomenal. I would love to see Zach Ertz here. That'd be great. Big Green, who are the first round? I'm assuming you're saying options again. Well, a lot of it will depend on free agency, but guys I like, Kayvon Thibodeau. Jermaine Johnson is interesting. Connor Rogers, he's a big fan of him. I'm not sure I'm as high on Jermaine Johnson as Connor Rogers is, but I respect his work. He's the lead draft analyst for Bleacher Report, so what he says matters. So Kayvon Thibodeau, Sauce Gardner, David Ajabo, pass rushers, offensive linemen. I mean, there is really all kinds of things that are out there. And that is my take. Sorry, Matthias, let me bring that up. The only way I pay Zach Ertz is if we draft a tight end or we will be in the same position. 100%, you have to double dip, regardless of who you take. Even if you would have signed Dalton Schultz, I think you would have had to pair that with a draft pick. Let's see. Tom, welcome. What's up, Paul? Hope all is well. It really is, man. Again, over 1,000 subscribers. Things are going great. I got a beautiful daughter here on the planet, which is beautiful. I am blessed, baby. So I'm blessed. Things are going great. John Bradley, loving the cap. I will tell you, so this is one of the things you guys may notice here on the channel. I try to always wear different Jets gear every episode. And fortunately, I've got a first world problem. I got a million things. I've got an entire Jets hat wall over there, which is cool. This is actually from the Todd Bowles era. And it was just a hat that I really liked. It kind of goes with the NYJ action. So you got the NYJ. So I'm sure they still sell them, but I get the Jets draft hat every year, so I do that. That's on the walls over there. But the NYJ hat is Todd Bowles era. So you see if you guys can still find that out there. Let's see. Wow, there you go, Jose. Christian Watson is going to be the best wide receiver in this draft. That's bold. I don't know where he's at in the current rankings. There's at least 5 ahead of him, if not more. But he's got the measurables, that's for sure. Sauce at 4, he could be a top 7 corner. I think he can be even better than that. Buffalo Jet fan, I will tell you this is one of the players I fear. Trayvon Walker, 6'5", 265, 4'5", 40-yard dash, combine warrior, but no pass rush. That's all projection. He had 9.5 sacks at Georgia. He's a elite run stuffer, and you just hope if you use him correctly based on the athletic traits, he could be a really good pass rusher. He scares the hell out of me. Let's see. Follow Foley Fatukasi. Again, I shared this earlier this week, but I'll share those nuggets. Again, he's a great run stuffer. Not doesn't really have pass rush juice. There is a lot of talk he's going to get 10+ million per year. God bless, get that somewhere else. And I don't think the Jets pay that much for a run stuffer. I think they need pass rush potential. Let's see. I love draft day, by the way. So keep it simple, RC. That is a tradition every year. So again, I've mentioned this a few times. My birthday is April 26th. So forever, the draft and how I celebrate my birthday every year is watching the draft. I just want people to leave me alone and let me watch the draft in its entirety. I love watching the draft. And every Thursday, which is the first round of the NFL draft, I watch draft day earlier that day. That's a tradition. I do it every single year. But maybe the Thibodeau thing is the Bo Callahan birthday party thing, which, again, I love that movie. I know a lot of people hate that. It's polarizing, apparently. I love draft day with Kevin Costner. That's a great movie. Let's see. Big Green, I want Crowder for them trick plays and red zone targets. I think he goes to a contender. I think a contender that pays him pretty decent salary. But I did, the Gizmo gadget plays were a lot of fun and really good player. He's actually been one of the better Jets free agent investments, quite frankly, as of late. Let's see. Julio, Paul, if the Jets don't take a tight end free agency, should we double dip in the 2022 NFL draft? Who would we take if McBride is gone? Again, the world is your oyster. I will tell you a guy I love, Isaiah Likely, Coastal Carolina. He's a guy that I think is phenomenal. He's that receiving threat that maybe can build the rest of his game that can be had in the mid-rounds. I heard Jelani was another one that Bucky Brooks dropped out of Virginia. That makes a lot of sense potentially. Ruckert, obviously the longtime Jets fan. I think there's no way in hell, Julio, quite frankly, if they don't sign somebody. I mean, I heard they want to bring Tyler Kroft back potentially. Okay, but I want one of these guys, Zach Ertz, O.J. Howard, Evan Ingram, Max Williams, whoever. They better sign some warm body at tight end. You can't go into the draft blind because then everyone's going to know you're going to want a tight end. I think it's a terrible position to be in. But I think there are other options beyond McBride. That you can bring to the table. Let's keep going here. James, what is your boldest Jets take on free agency in the draft? That's a great question. The boldest, let me take a Dewey one. I think the boldest take I'll have, and it's like free agency trade, call it what you want. I think they make a major splash. I know they didn't own Amari Cooper. I don't know who it is. Danielle Hunter, excuse me, of the Vikings. I don't know if it's a wide receiver, a pass rusher. I don't know. But I am sold that they have a huge splash trade. So that's my bold take. And then the draft, I think they walk away with Sauce Gardner. I think that's, again, Kayvon Thibodeau is my favorite guy, so I'd love for him to be a member of the Jets. But I think my hot take right now is the Jets will end up with Sauce Gardner in some form or fashion. I don't know if they get that top corner in free agency, so I think they get Sauce Gardner. There you go. Hopefully, James, that answers the bell for you. Let's see. Anthony Harrison, would you consider drafting wide receiver 10? 100%. I think they should have their pick of the litter, although we will see because Atlanta with the Calvin Ridley situation, maybe they go wide receiver. But you should have a lot of them still on the board, and I think there are a lot of varying options out there. Again, depending on your flavor, I love Drake London. I love Garrett Wilson. I love them all. Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, love them all. Traylon Burks, love. The L word is being thrown around. I would love to consider it, but you have to see. It depends on free agency. I would be okay with a double dip of defense, quite frankly. Sauce Gardner and a pass rusher. I'd be okay with that. But a wide receiver, come on, it's sexy. A first-round wide receiver, that's sexy. Who wouldn't love that? Thomas Craig, Trader Joe will save the day. Don't be upset about Cooper. Hang in there, man. Again, I am. Again, I'm in a much better place than I was yesterday. I was very angry and upset yesterday. And ultimately, I'm still disappointed because I didn't think the trade price was a lot. But I think something else is coming. So I claim to be the most optimistic Jets fan on the planet. So I always see the glass half full. And I think that's a great way to have life. Here's a weird PSA that I think this is my philosophy. You don't control the hand that you're dealt. We can all have a shitty day. Something can happen in our life with, something serious with our family or work sucks or whatever. Like you don't get to control how your day goes from that perspective. but you can control your attitude towards it. Like if we have a crappy day, like, okay, but this is why I try to be positive and optimistic, and all the energy that you guys see on the channel and love so much is I try to see the glass half full. Like, okay, I was dealt a shitty hand here, but I can still attack the day. I can still have a positive mindset about it. So that's kind of how I operate. You know, different strokes, different folks, though. So I'm good, man. I'm good. I feel a lot better now. Free agency trade, tight end, wide receiver, offensive line, sauce at 4, edge at 10. King Blaze, you are spitting. You are spitting, baby. I like how you're thinking. It must be Big Green smoke screen for Linderbaum. I've heard all this Linderbaum stuff, or maybe that's the smoke screen. Maybe the Ryan Jensen smoke screen is actually they want Linderbaum. I don't know. Although the problem is free agency is like a month before the draft, so who you smoke screening? Like Jensen's going to sign somewhere within the first couple of days of free agency, so I'm not really sure how that works. But maybe it's just a massive smoke screen. I don't know. Let's see. Ryan Jensen from James will cost too much, can't pass protect, is too old, and a fringe upgrade. Yeah, I don't really see the massive upgrade. I guess the personality, he's super, mean streak, nasty is from what I hear, and maybe that philosophy can kind of infect the rest of the offensive line, so maybe that's it. I think he is going to be too expensive, 13, 14, 15 million a year. I heard Mike Girardi say Joe Thuney money, which was like 5 years, 80 million. That is way more than I'm willing to spend. That is way more than I'm willing to spend. New subscriber, love your content. Keep it up. Benji, love it, baby. Woohoo! I appreciate that you love the content, baby. We're keeping it up. We get a lot of stuff. Like I said, Connor Rogers coming up on the show tomorrow. So there's a lot of great stuff coming, baby. Let's see. So love it. Okay. Oh, we got a super chat. This is my second one all time. So, guys, feel free to super chat me up where you kind of throw a tip over to get a comment in. So, thank you. Donation for more Mountain Dew. Yes. Okay. You were going to push me to my deathbed sooner, Eddie. I'm sure my family will appreciate that. So, let's take a nice swig for that. Thank you very much. And I think a lot of you guys will kind of get to appreciate this in a sense, is you'll learn more about me because we got a huge, kind of a surge of subscribers recently since we went over the 1,000K mark and people kind of jumping on the bandwagon. Is that I don't drink alcohol, to be honest with you. I barely do. The only one I drink, and only some of you may know this, hand grenades down in Louisiana. My family is a big Mardi Gras family, right? They like to party down there. And the one bit of alcohol that I drink almost on a yearly basis is hand grenades, which is the most powerful drink in New Orleans is what they call it. So that is my drink of choice, or it's Mountain Dew. So if they ever like do surgery on me, cut me open, Mountain Dew will pour out. That kind of helps with all the high energy. But thank you so much, Eddie, for the super chat. Feel free others to super chat me up. I really appreciate the support. It helps support the channel. Tomlinson for right guard. Now, here's the thing on Laken Tomlinson. Technically, he's a left guard, so it's a little bit projecting. Now, everyone thinks Madden style. You can flip left guard, right tackle, left tackle. There's a lot of nuance. Again, I also talked about that with Damian Woody on Monday for people to understand. So it is a bit of a projection, but you would probably just feel comfortable that he knows the scheme being with the 49ers. So that should help. Let's see. Let me go through here. Let's see the thing. Okay. Well, oh, yep. Let's go to this. Matthias, the thing I like about Joe Douglas is nothing of what he's going to do. No leaks, all gas, no brakes. That's true. So, all of this could be conjecture. It could just be what people believe is going to happen with these rumors. Like I said, the headline of the YouTube video is break the bank. That's from Dan Graziano. He believes the Jets are going to break the bank at corner. That's what he's heard. Jeremy Fowler saying tight end is a point of emphasis. Is it because the Jets suck at tight end and he's kind of guessing? I don't know. I think he's a pretty good insider. The Jarvis Landry stuff or what have you. Sure, it could be all guesswork. I don't know. No one knows. I guess we will find out ultimately. But there are some guys that really like some of the national reporters, Rap Sheet, Schefter. But some people can get them wrong. I had another story out on Heavy on Jets where the Juju Smith-Schuster stuff apparently is fake news. They chased him last year, reportedly. And then this year is a free agent. But apparently they don't have interest, according to Connor Hughes. So I guess we'll find out. If the Jets make the playoffs, will you promise to dye your beard jet green? Oh, my. I'll run it by the fiance. I'll tell you that. That's for sure. But, hey, man, I'm all for, to be honest. So think about it, right? So I'm 28 years old. I turned 29. Oh, my God. I turned 29 at the end of April. Yikes, I'm getting old. But since I've been doing all this kind of media stuff of being Boy Green, for those who don't know, again, at Boy Green 25, I'm a sports talk radio host. I'm a digital reporter for the Jets. I do this YouTube channel and other fun bits and podcasts and everything. Since I've been doing all this, the Jets haven't been in the playoffs. They haven't been here in 11 years. So 12 years technically now. They haven't been since 2010. Technically, there was the 2011, year, but it was the 2010 season. So we've never done this with playoffs and breakdowns and things of that nature. So that'd be a lot of fun. I will promise to bring it up to my fiance because I am whipped. But I will bring that up for sure. Hey, I'd be open to it. And again, you get I've heard someone bring up on the channel, I got the ZZ Top thing going on with Green Bean. So maybe me and Green Bean, we'll do double green beard. Maybe we'll do that. That'd be fun. Hey, I'd be all in. Let's go to Big Daddy. Okay. Jermaine Johnson, number 4, Traylon Burks at number 10, the trade up for Jamison Williams, all dependent on filling holes in free agency. If they double dip a wide receiver, that would be sexy. That would be Madden headline splash worthy. If they were willing to do, that'd be crazy. I think they would probably aim to fill more holes. Like if they traded up, again, depending on free agency, we always have to keep saying that. Like an Andrew Booth at corner or Derek Stingley at corner if he was to drop, something like that, where they take advantage of value. I'm not sure they would double dip a wide receiver, but I like the thought process. My birthday is tomorrow. Big Green, happy early belated birthday, my friend. Happy early belated. That doesn't make any sense. Happy early birthday, excuse me. And there you go. So that's awesome. So happy birthday, my friend. Hopefully the Jets leave you a nice present, huh? Hopefully they do. Joe Campione, guard, tight end, interior defense line free agency. Extend Fant this year. Hell yeah, I'm all for it. Reportedly, I haven't written this piece. It just kind of got lost in the shuffle with everything going on. The Jets apparently are willing to pay multi-million, double-digit crazy money at George Fant. I'll try to get that piece up here soon on that. But there is that talk out there. If I'm the Jets and you believe in Fant as much as you say you do, you might as well throw the bag in them. Maybe they'll wait till after the draft and see if they do an icky thing or something like that. And then they would have more leverage at the table. Say, hey, if you don't accept this, we'll just turn the keys over to, whoever. Let's see. Big Daddy again. If Jets pick up Jensen, they move McGovern to guard, filling in the guard opening. Cheaper alternative to signing guard in free agency. If he takes a pay cut. Although the $9 million, if you just keep the 9, it's probably cheaper than guards. Yeah, that's probably true, depending on who you brought in. But I would be open to that, quite frankly. Keep the depth. I think the Jets brass really likes Connor McGovern. Okay, let's try to go through some final comments here before we sign off. Adam Thielen is good also. He should be in the ballpark. Again, I did an article already on it about potentially trading for him. The Vikings are looking to blow that thing up. Yes, on that. All linemen in play, 35-38. Give me Zion Johnson if he's there at Boston College, one of my favorites. Let's see. Flash Aussie. Who will be the Jets' first person Jet sign for agency, not a ex-Jets player? What time, day does it open? Here's all the rules and regulations and why we did this video today. Legal tampering period starts tomorrow, March 14th at noon. That's when teams are allowed to speak with agents and representatives and negotiate contracts and go crazy. And that's when all the media nuggets are going to come out. The new league year officially kicks off on Wednesday, March 16th at 4 o'clock. As soon as that hits, that's when, ESPN's going to have their free agency special. And wow, news starts breaking in. News will actually start breaking in on Monday, but there'll be even more news on Wednesday. Trades are official and all that fun jazz. Who will be the first person? This is a fun game. Who will be the first person? Because everyone assumes, right, it's a big money name. But as we saw last year, is Jared Davis, the no-name former first-round pick linebacker. So, this can be tricky. Now, I will say the first person they sign is a prediction. The first person they sign. I'm going to go... I'll go Keanu Neal. There you go. I'll throw a kind of a random dart throw. I'll say Keanu Neal is the first guy. That's my prediction. The first person I would call... Give me James Daniels on line 1. He'd be the first guy I would call if I was running the ship, but the one I think they ultimately sign first is Keanu Neal. There's kind of a one off the wall. A couple more quickies before we go out. DHX111. Do you prefer taking wide receiver 1 at 10 or in round 2? And I don't want to keep being a cop-out here. Again, it depends on free agency. I would be open to either. I think at At 10, you have one of the top 5 wide receivers who are all fantastic. Around 2, you got Jahan Dotson, who I really like. He's like my target in round 2 right now, but maybe even one of the first-round guys slip because that could happen. And then you launch back up with 35 and another package to go get a Treylon Burks, who's kind of had a bad, kind of pre-draft process, not really lighting it up how people thought. I'd be open to that. Let's see. Jose, the JD model does not include that he will take a cornerback or wide receiver in the top 10, so stop dreaming. I mean, we will see. He's never taken a defender in the first round. That's his model. So will he this year? Again, what nuggets you believe will ultimately happen. And Motivated T, no leaks, all fake. Okay. I think someone's going to be right here, but we will see. Can Jets sign players tomorrow? Not officially, Jets gang, but yes. So you could see this is very possible. The Jets could be like the Jets are set to sign random guy, DJ Chark. Let's just use that as an example. The Jets agree to terms with DJ Chark on a 4-year deal for $40 million. It will not be official till Wednesday at 4, but you will likely hear things like that from Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, and others. Like the Jets have agreed to terms with blah. That's yes. So you will start to see that tomorrow. That's why we did this video today, so it doesn't kind of get lost in the shuffle. At pick 10, let's see. Let's finish off with this one. Orphanage Builder DeGrom. That's the most unique YouTube name I think I've ever seen. At 10, pick one of Hamilton, Wilson, Linderbaum, Burks, or Sauce. Sauce. I go Sauce. Hamilton would be intriguing at 10. I go Sauce, though. The corner value, that's where I go. If I could only pick one, it would be Sauce. Hamilton, I think, is interesting at 10 if he falls there. I think the Jets would consider it. That would be it. With positional value, star power, it would be Sauce. Guys, this looks like it was the most popular. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but this looks like, and I will answer this one I will bring up a couple of these final points here. Let's do this before I sign off. Hit the like button. Everyone hit the like button on the video. Hit subscribe as well. This looks like it was the most popular live stream we've ever had. This is amazing. So let's squeeze in a couple of last DJ Chark or Russell Gage. DJ Chark, although the money kind of scares me. Let's go. JE at 4, Sauce, Jermaine Johnson, or Trayvon Walker. Not a Trayvon Walker fan. Think he's a run stuffer as well. So, but I don't see the pass rush. All right, everybody, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on the YouTube live stream, this podcast here on YouTube. Again, guys, this looks like, I haven't seen the analytics yet, but seeing all the people in the chat, we have over 100 people in here. Thank you so much for joining us here on this channel. Please, if you're watching this either live now or after the fact, consider hitting the thumbs up on the video down below here on youtube.com/boygreen25 and hit subscribe. We got a lot of fun stuff coming, some things that we have locked in on the docket. We have Connor Rogers. Again, that drops tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. He is a lead NFL draft analyst for Bleacher Report. He's going to be fantastic. That interview drops at 8 a.m. and every free agent signing will be here with an insider breaking down that fit and the money and everything else here on the channel. And we will be here on Wednesday as well for the Jet Zone, a weekly New York Jets podcast I've been doing for the last decade. And we'll get to talk to you guys all then. All right, everybody, we'll see you later and enjoy free agency. All your hopes and dreams are out there and enjoy it. And we can keep our fingers crossed that the Jets do something and we don't have to use that one meme where that guy with the stick is like, hey, Jets, do something. Hopefully they do a lot of things that we can talk about here on the channel. Should be a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you. Peace out.